John O'Brien, out here at my main research plot. Some food for thought today. Do you know whatever you decide to plant, how does it yield under ideal conditions? Do you know what you plant, what would be the phosphorus levels, potassium levels, nutrient levels? If you don't know how anything yields on a typical year, and you don't know what is inside that plant, then how do you fertilize? How do you know how to fertilize? Some of you guys might be like, well, but my agronomist, the soil testing lab gives me data. My question to you is, how many of you guys have called or emailed the labs and asked for an accumulation of all the different samples that they've taken in the past for things like radish, turnip, ladino clover, any of these other common food plot forages? And the answer is most labs have very limited libraries. So then I ask you again, how do you know how to fertilize? Most people might say, well, John, it doesn't really matter. I just want something that's going to grow, that looks good, that the deer will eat. What affects growth? What affects what deer eat? All those factors are very common. So, no matter what you plant, no matter how you plant it, no matter where you plant it, the thing that I want you to think about is don't be one of the 90%. 90% of the soil samples I've got back that are from new clients are imbalanced. The trend is usually plenty of phosphorus, very little potassium. Yes, there's a lot of people who have very low phosphorus and also very low potassium. My challenge you guys is ask yourself, where can I find this information? Where can I find the answers? What happens if you don't have enough phosphorus? Does that affect how the forages get out of the ground? What happens if you don't have enough potassium? Does that affect how much leaf surface material and nutrient composition and other factors like that come into play? Ask yourself, what should you really be planting if you're not so concerned about proper fertilization, proper nutrient balance, and some of the things I brought up? My answer would be oats, wheat, rye. Things that don't have much in it. Things that don't grow much. Things that don't have very high levels of phosphorus and potassium. Because then it doesn't really matter. You guys could be off by a little bit. You don't have to fertilize so much then, right? Because they're not pulling those nutrients up out of the soil, putting them into the plant. But each and every one of you guys, I'm venturing to say, want to do better. Most people want to plant ladino clovers. You want to plant a little bit better forages. So to do better, think about how that can be accomplished. This is my life. I live out here. I try to bring it to people like you guys that try to just let you think for a moment on how to do better. This doesn't have to be a lot of work. This can be fun. This can be learning. I share a lot of this data, but not as much as I used to for various reasons. But the concepts I will share with you today are simple. If you want more growth, you need to have healthy, alive soil that goes beyond the soil sample. You need to have enough nutrients, whether it be from foliar or from dry fertilization, to get the forages out of the ground and to get as much top growth as possible. You need to plant for your management. Your management, no matter what you plant, you should be sitting down before you buy seed and ask yourself, is the kind of growth that I expect going to be below average, average, above average, or great? And if it's like, I just want to see deer, I just want something to grow, well, then what you should be planting is something that doesn't require a lot of fertilization, that won't get a lot of growth, only 1.5 tons, 2 tons of forage dry matter per acre. But then again, what happens if you have an extra 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 more deer feedings per acre? Could that mean you'll have more deer to feed? Could it mean you don't even have to plant so many acres of food plots? Could it mean you could plant more bedding, more habitat? Utilize your properties in ways beyond the food plots. Just some talking points, some things to think about. And again, in the background, we got a unique forage. Yes, it's all blossomed out. Yes, it's about 50 inches tall. Normally you wouldn't see that out in an environment where there's very many deer because the deer go crazy for it. But then again, at my research here, very low deer numbers. We have the ability to measure growth. We have the ability to learn when you have conditions where you have low deer numbers. Some talking points, food for thought, in my main research plot, Columbus, Wisconsin.